That stuff we've been doing at Milan's house, bro. That guy works all fucking day.
Yeah, he does a good job of working. I mean, he works his butt off, no doubt. He pretty much built that house and really didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah,
I was sort of pieced it all together. Like even the furniture business he has, he really didn't know what he was doing. Asked a few things and just sort of built that furniture business like by hand during COVID.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I asked him yesterday. I was like, "So, are you self-taught? Like, did you go to trade school?" And he was like, "Well, when I was little, I just liked to play in the dirt, play with tools." And I was like, "Oh, okay, it's pretty interesting."
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, his dad and his grandpa were like carpenters too, or like made furniture, but he was never that. I mean, he just said he went to school to be a chef.
Oh, actually, I have heard that.
Yeah.
Has he ever cooked for you? No. I would like to try something.
Yeah, I said that before. I was like, well, if you're gonna be a chef, like you need to cook for me, and he's never cooked.
Shit, bro, we're working all day. You know what he made me? We had Hawaiian rolls with ham, cheese, and then
Ketchup, probably.
Dude, French onion dip. Lather them with them.
Oh my god!
I was like, ooh, that's a little much.
So American. Come on, let me get some European cooking.
Yeah.
European cooking is way better than any American thing. I mean, honestly, I never really had food in my house when I was a kid. And that, like, when I went to Europe, I went to Bulgaria when I was 13 years old for 6 months.
Uh-huh.
So Dennis Hall had a training partner from Bulgaria. I coached in Dennis Hall's kids club, and my mom was, like, his biggest supporter.
Oh, okay.
You know? And Dennis needed a place for him to stay, and we had a whole basement and an extra room. So my mom ended up just giving up their master bedroom so he could be comfortable for 3 months to train with Dennis Hall.
Really?
Yeah, and then that next year, I was only 95 pounds in 8th grade, right?
Okay.
So I was
short.
Yeah, I was short. I was small. I just wasn't big.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I was going to sit out no matter what 8th grade and wait another year to go to high school until I matured.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up this guy stayed with us, and I ended up living in Bulgaria for 6 months with this guy's family.
Oh, this is in 8th grade?
Yeah, well, after it would have been my freshman year.
Or so, yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been my freshman year, but I took it off. And then there is where I like sort of learned how to eat and have like normal meals. We never ate as a family.
Yeah.
And having that in Bulgaria like sort of showed me like how important I guess that was to me, and how like I feel like it really connected me with a family.
Yeah.
So it was, and I ended up going through puberty there too.
Really?
So like I left. I was like 105 pounds.
Uh-huh.
I came back. I was like 130.
130.
You know, I was big, and my mom was like, "What?" You know, and I had to cut my butt off to make it to 119 for Fargo that year.
Really?
Like cut hard. And then the next year I wrestled 130 my freshman year, 45, 60, and then 71.
Really?
Yeah.
Here, on that, actually, I'm going to introduce you and get into the show a little. Thank you for coming back to Someone in the Studio. We're on episode 1 right now. And this guy we got on right now is someone new to me. He's pretty cool. I'd like to say he's pretty successful as well. Been a great mentor, coach, partner. But Ben Provisor, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yeah. But so you're saying, so you hit puberty in Bulgaria.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward.
That is, and was your family not there either? So your mom's back home?
No, it was just me. We were giving this family like $400 a month,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much to take care of me,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were paying for groceries and stuff. And me living there actually this is the first time because of that $400 a month that we were giving them. This is the first time they were able to afford heat to be in their house during the winter.
Really?
Yeah. So like it's crazy. His family lived in like a third world country, literally, like where his mom and dad live.
Mm-hmm.
There's no running water. They live off a farm. You know, they butcher their own animals. They like literally have no teeth. Like,
and this is Dennis Hall's friend, you were saying?
Well, so he met him through training.
Okay.
Ivan Ivanov, who now is the Greco developmental like general manager,
Mm-hmm.
he was the original partner of Dennis Hall coming to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Because Dennis wanted to find international partners because he was raising a family. he was raising a family and couldn't really go to all these trips. It didn't really have the openness as most people did to train. So he would bring international guys in with him and then like house them and get them to do camps and stuff like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and Ivan was the first one. So Ivan had contacts through Bulgaria because he's a world medalist, and and he ended up hooking Dennis up with this guy Alexander Sandoff, and then he lived with us for 3 months. And then after that, my mom pitched the idea to him, like, "Hey,
let's send Ben over there."
Yeah, I mean, my mom was an insane wrestling mom. If you ever met an insane wrestling dad, that's my mom.
Yeah,
and
just loud, like very involved.
Very involved.
Yeah,
and very intense.
Okay.
So, and that is definitely where I get a lot of, I guess, my intensity
like
from.
Yeah,
or type of anger, what people consider anger, or
that spirit, bro, that warrior spirit.
Yeah, so she definitely was hard on me and taught me a lot of, hard lessons that definitely come into my life.
Yeah.
But, so I ended up living there for 6 months, going through puberty. That was
wild.
I mean, dude, I had it's embarrassing to say, but I woke up and I had a wet dream.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea what was going on.
You're asking your Bulgarian friend.
No, I didn't say shit, bro. I didn't say nothing. So it was, I wasn't saying a word. I had my suitcase in it. So it was a 2-bedroom apartment. Their son had a room and they had a room. And then there's a kitchen and bathroom. And I had my suitcase under the bed, and I hid those things in my suitcase underneath. I found a place to hide. It wasn't. Yeah, it was definitely super embarrassing, and I didn't really know what was going on. And then
especially when you're going through it for the first time, you're like, "What is going on right now?"
Yeah, and then I had nobody to really talk to about it. I couldn't my mom and dad weren't there, so it was an interesting transition.
Yeah,
but I'm so thankful for going there. Like I said, being able to, that was the first time I sort of ate food normally and got on a really good schedule with that, and was training there and just had a lot of great memories, running up in the mountains. And
as far as experience goes, you can't really get any better than that when you're that young too.
Yeah, it was definitely a really cool experience, and I've been so lucky with the traveling that I've been able to do with wrestling. Even though I have how most people in the world, they're like, oh, I want to go travel, I want to go do stuff. That's because most of the time they stay at home, and then they go to college, and then they got to make money, and then they have the availability to travel, sometimes. Yeah. Some people do it differently, but it's now for me, I like being at home because I've traveled so much. And my traveling is not really the same as most people's traveling.
No, it's very intense, and it's not always necessarily about getting to see what's around as much as you'd maybe want to.
And it's more like a job. It's more like a job to me, and I've been trying to take it serious. Ever since I got paid when I was at Northern Michigan, I got a paycheck. I was like, wow, I can actually make money and. Mm-hmm. So I've always sort of, especially before tournaments, I've really tried to always take it seriously because there's money on the line, and I wanted to, I guess, have nice things, and it was cool to be 19, not really have any bills, and live, in college and live at the Olympic Training Center when I was 20, and not have bills, and then I just had money in my account. It was it was just free money,
So 2012 at that Olympic trials, you make your first team. How old were you at that time? Because I saw an interview. I was on YouTube actually. I saw an interview that they took of you. It was in where was it? Was it London?
Yeah, it was probably in London.
Yeah, I think I saw they did a minute and a half interview with you in London, and you just look so young. But yeah, how old were you at the time?
I was 22 when I wrestled at the Olympics. I was 21 when I won the Olympic trials.
Okay.
So, 22 when I wrestled in the Olympics, I guess.
Dude, that's
became
young.
an Olympian. And, but I knew what's crazy about it, we go back to that Bulgaria trip. Mm-hmm. I knew, I was running in the freaking freezing cold. I was going through puberty with nobody around. I was had nobody to talk to. Super awkward time for me. Mm-hmm. And
I'm sure
either way, while I was running, I thought of being an Olympic champion when I was running those laps.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, it made me go harder and it made me stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, since I had that experience in Bulgaria and I did that, that's just been my dream, is being an Olympic champion.
Yeah, it seems like you've been training at that level for so long.
Yeah, and after I made, and won the Olympic trials, I mean, I had so many things that I shouldn't have won the Olympic trials. I needed back surgery when I won Olympic trials.
Mm-hmm.
I needed back surgery still when I wrestled in my first Olympics, but I didn't get it. I had back surgery scheduled, but I didn't get it because I feel like God put me here to wrestle Greco. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I did everything I could. Like, I did a ton of hot yoga, and I was down at 163 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to, like, really maintain my lifestyle, like, super clean to make that weight. And it was day before weigh-in, so, I mean, when I wrestled, I'd probably weigh 185 to 180 pounds.
Yeah.
Because it was,
I forget the rules were so different back then.
because it was day before weigh-ins, but I still, it took me a long time to do it, and I had to be disciplined on it, but I didn't think I was going to make the Olympic team because I needed back surgery. My nerve was completely pinched in my back. Like, anytime I brought my left hip in, I couldn't do it. So I always stood with my right foot forward. Like, I couldn't bring my left hip in.
Yeah.
So it hindered me, but it made me do things in a unconventional way as far as getting down to weight with hot yoga and doing stuff like that. That I was super healthy and really in really good shape and won.
Yeah.
I think just off.
Just the physical being, like physical wellness at the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely wasn't 100%, and I wasn't 100% at the Olympics, but I won a match there too. And like I said, I think that's what God put me here to do. So
100%, yeah.
Especially when I had those moments in my life, like I've dedicated myself to those times, and I feel like God has helped me out. Even when I was going through fast forward to 2016 when I was going through my divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I was really struggling, and I hadn't made a world team from 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. I didn't make a world team.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, didn't make one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a single world team.
So there's other blocks.
There's definitely other factors. I feel like my relationship and my marriage at the time was definitely holding me back, and because I wasn't happy in that environment.
Yeah.
And then when I left and focused on wrestling and went back home, and then ended up going to Florida, same thing. 2016, I won Olympic trials, and it was because I was focused on it and I gave everything to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even after that, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give back. So I mean, that's where
100%.
I'm trying to do now too.
Well, and there are those like other factors that just kind of pull away from wrestling. Not necessarily just relationships, but I mean, right now we're in college right now, so I mean we got school, and that takes energy away. So I mean, having those things in there can be limiting, especially for someone who's only known wrestling like that for so long too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely different adjusting to the college, I guess, lifestyle, and I guess.
How are you liking it so far, being in college?
No, I really like it. I think I was drawn to some bad things at first, where just hanging out with a younger crowd.
Yeah.
And I just need to be able to know what I need to do and what I'm here for. And I think this is a great year to, learn how to go back to school, learn how to write again, learn how to, get into, and really just learn how to be sort of a broke college kid. I never had that experience. So like I said, I was living for free at the Olympic Training Center. So I didn't really have any bills, and I was able to buy a nice car pretty early because I didn't have any bills, and I wasn't really broke ever. So now coming back here, I have bought a house in Pennsylvania, and that's being rented out and stuff. So I have other things, but in college, obviously I'm taking a pay cut because now I'm sort of paying to go to school. I'm still taking my student loans out because it's a good opportunity for me to advance my career. I ultimately want to coach, and to be a college coach, I need my education. Yeah. And I think there's no better place to do it than here. And I was honestly I didn't really know what I was getting into when I came here. Yeah. But I'm just so happy the way where I am right now.
Oh, dude, I feel the same. Before coming into the program and actually being a part of the team, because there's only so much you can get by being on a visit and seeing oh, that looks. I'll tell you what, being on the team has been life changing. Just the things that are available to us now, like our nutrition and just the school. I mean, we're able to record in the studio just because our school has it available. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is definitely a blessing.
But I had a question. I had a question. Do you think that being older now, do you think it's easier to go into your education with like a mission maybe? Whereas like I don't know, when I got to college, I was like I wanted to go because I knew I need my education, and I mean obviously I'm still in. But it was more out of like I know I need to do this. It's not like I don't want the opportunity to like I don't cherish the opportunity to do this. You know.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I've been, 19, I've been, 18 through 21,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I was just lucky I was able to make money and not really have anything to worry about.
Mhm.
But I didn't even start truly knowing myself till I, ended up going through a divorce.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people rush into decisions super fast.
Mhm.
And especially in college, like, it's hard for an 18-year-old to know what they want to do for the rest of their life.
Oh, I know.
Like how do you make that decision at 18? You don't even
100%.
you don't even know you're not even emotionally developed yet.
Yeah.
So you don't even know how like what you like and situations you want to be in and
Yes.
like how you want to live. So it's really hard to understand what you want to be at 18 or 19 years old, and I'm so happy that I was able to, I guess, have life experience first
Mhm.
and then come back into college. And I definitely know what I want. And I've already changed my major once because I see like how I want to help people as a coach too.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And then just I mean, as you take classes in college too, you kind of figure out what you like and don't like. Like you said, you changed your major already. I've changed mine twice. Like I was a history education, and now I'm sport management accounting. Like complete opposite directions.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely learn yourself in this time, especially. I think for me, when I was in Pennsylvania, I was on my own, and I really got to know what I really like and how I want to be, how I want to live my life. And being at Penn State, I was lucky enough to be around the greatest team. I feel like in this in this decade, and I believe that
Most definitely.
they're gonna continue to be a dominant force in the NCAA for decades to come because of Kale and his lineage that he has there. He's just passionate about wrestling, and what he's built there is amazing.
But yeah, that's another thing that's just I think is so incredible is some of the places you've had the opportunity to train now, like Bucknell, Nittany Lion, like you're talking about, like even just living at the OTC, like those are all incredible places. Not to mention all the overseas places you've trained. I mean, do you have a special do you have a facility that you maybe liked especially more than others, or like happened to be a situation where you did?
I really like St. Petersburg, Russia. I just thought it was a beautiful town. I mean, you can tell it's old. I like older things.
Yeah.
Overseas wise, I mean, I've been in some crazy bad situations where the Azerbaijan team, they train in the middle of the desert. They drive you out into the middle of the desert, and it's literally like 5 hours away from anything. And you walk outside this wrestling training center, and there's like people selling goats that they killed in the morning.
What?
Like that, like literally, it's like there's chickens and cattle on the street across, and like no running water.
And they're like, this is totally normal for them.
Well, and they built it specifically so they could the wrestlers could eat the food that comes from there because it's a very healthy region.
Okay.
And then they can train there because it's a little bit at altitude.
Okay.
So I mean, I feel like a jail.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You're sitting here riding on this camel's back to get to the wrestling room. You're like, dude, I don't know where we're going right now.
Dude, and it was so hot in there. I mean, it was kind of unbelievable that we stayed there for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Was that with the U.S. team or was that?
That was right before Rio. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was right before Rio.
Oh my gosh.
So it was definitely insane training, and freaking watching the international guys go get shots in their butt right after after practice. They're popping some steroids after practice.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just
and that's one of the everyone. All these other countries are doing that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like I don't know. I'm not saying it should be allowed necessarily, but it seems like the U.S. is the one that cracks down on it the hardest.
Well, the United States has the strictest drug doping agency in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, some of their stuff is even behind on WADA things, because of how they feel. Like on WADA regulations,
Mhm.
they're supposed to follow WADA. That's who they're designed to follow. Follow is the World Anti-Doping Agency,
Okay.
and they even are behind on, like I said, behind on some things that WADA was already ahead of on, especially like the THC issue, like that.
Is this because? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is this because they have like we have our own preferences on what we want to do?
Exactly,
Okay.
100%. Definitely preference of what looks
Really?
good and what doesn't look good. I mean, it's just like the media. It's the same thing. What seems good and what is good is two completely different things.
I feel like every other country has the idea of like win at all costs, like we will win, and then America's over here like, no, we have to win the right way,
Yeah, have to win fairly,
fair and square.
Yes.
Nobody else is playing by the rules out here.
No, definitely not. I mean, those 18 and 19-year-olds that come out looking like full men from Russia.
Well, what about What about you remember Ecamendia, the Cuban?
Yeah.
Went to Ohio State. Is he still wrestling there? You know?
Oh man, I mean, I know he got wrapped up in some like charges with his girl,
Oh, interesting.
so I know he got in some trouble. But now he's like, I mean, I know Mitchell.
Because I've seen his Insta, and I see he's still around, but
Yeah, he's like trying to make. I think he's trying to make money to support the like, legal problems that he has going on.
I see.
Through Instagram.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't know.
Well, dude's built.
I obviously don't know anything in this situation, and
Yeah.
hope there's.
But all I know is I see this guy's social media, and I'm looking at him like this guy is ripped up.
Yeah.
Like
well,
how is he not wrestling somewhere? But
Oh yeah. Well,
makes sense.
I know he got in some trouble, but other than that, I mean, he's definitely very talented. Those guys from Cuba are obviously connected with the Russians, and they got the system. I mean, the Cuban Greco team has been performing better than any team in the Olympics for the last 12 years.
Well, when I went to Worlds was when Hancock had wrestled the Cuban at the Pan Ams, and the Cuban beat his ass.
Yeah, attacked him.
Yeah, and so that Cuban was still eligible for juniors, I believe, at the time, and he came and did the same thing, just walked through the tournament, and it was insane. Just watching
men amongst boys.
Yeah, just watching him drop these world level athletes on their head.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few, especially at the junior world level as well. Some Cubans that are just insanely much more developed than we are.
Their explosive power is insane.
I mean their government definitely enhances their athlete at a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen Mian Lopez. I mean, the dude. I mean, he is so big. I've never seen anybody that big in my life.
And he's the he's the heavyweight for Cuba, right?
Yeah,
the
greatest Olympic champion ever. I mean,
I think it's official. He passes Krellin up, don't you think?
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT, and I think in a match he would beat Krellin as well. In their primes, I don't think anybody could touch Milan Lopez. Not even close. You say dude.
Krellin would have to get on top of him if he could.
Yeah, but I don't think he could. I think Lopez can score when he wants, and he's shown that against that guy from Turkey that he's beaten so many times.
He's beaten him 4 times. I don't know. 4 times.
I don't know. I mean, the only times he's lost in world championships is when he's been paid.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that it's common knowledge. He got paid $100,000 in Turkey. He got paid $50,000 in Russia.
Is this a big problem that happens in?
Officials get paid.
Really?
Countries will pay for medals. I mean, the whole.
Really?
Do you remember the 2016 with the Mongolian taking his shirt off? I mean, come on! It was the most corrupt thing that anybody has ever seen in my life.
And so they knew then.
Oh, 100%. I mean, these guys. I mean, these guys worked their whole life for opportunities to win an Olympic medal, and in these countries, when you win an Olympic medal, they take care of you for the rest of your life.
Yes. So
a lot of people in the world don't understand what that Olympic medal means to a Mongolian or means to somebody from Azerbaijan. That is government. That a lot of these other countries, they keep a lot of people pretty poor, and they don't have the same standards that America does.
Yeah.
And
so what does winning these medals open up for these people?
It gives them insurance. It usually gives them a paycheck for the rest of their life. It usually gives them insurance. If you're a Canadian Olympian, You get insurance, like the best insurance for the rest of your life that you never
Yeah.
have to pay for. You also get like $40,000 a year when you retire
Mhm.
from being an Olympic athlete. So if you win the Olympics, I know in Russia you get a house, and I'm pretty sure you get like $1 million from the Russian Federation or whoever funds it there. You know.
Well, for the U.S. seems to be all about their athletes, but it seems like a lot of these other countries have a lot more respect for them, at least.
The U.S. is, I mean, it looks like we're about our athletes, but because we have governing bodies,
Mhm.
it holds our athletes back. And these, supposed like non-for-profit companies make money off of our services.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
Jordan Burroughs is contracted through USA Wrestling, and I mean, I'm not exactly sure what the contract is. I mean, I've had these contracts for 14 years,
Mhm.
and the pay hasn't gone up since the 90s.
Really?
It hasn't really gone up much, but I know there are special qualifications if you're like an Olympic medalist.
And this is for
or
wrestling
world champion.
specifically.
Yeah, this is for This is for
Okay.
USA Wrestling.
Yeah,
I'm not sure exactly what every other company is, but I mean, they're making a lot of money off athletes that are making not much. Like for me, speaking myself,
Mhm.
I think it's like $1,200 or something a month from USA Wrestling, and I'm the number one athlete in the U.S.
Mhm.
So I mean, and then I also have to. It's a 1099, so I have to pay 30% taxes on it.
Really?
So any paycheck that I get, I have to pay 30% taxes on it because they give it to me fully. They don't take taxes out of it. So I have to, have a receipt for my gas or have a receipt for my food that I buy at the tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to keep that stuff because that's my business, is myself.
Okay, I see. So when they're making those payments, it's like an investment in you, then, 100%.
Yeah, it's just prize. Well, no, it's more like prize money. It's more like the lottery. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
you won the lottery, like you won. It's not really I wouldn't say an investment.
Okay. It's like you've already paid this off.
The more investment side of stuff, especially on the when we're talking about Olympic athletes, is the insurance you can get from USA Wrestling and from those governing bodies because they cover Olympic athletes. Like that's the best thing for sure for me as far as keeping insurance for me and my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
is like the Olympic athlete insurance, and you have to be in the top 3. And because I've been in in USA Wrestling system for so long, if I place in the top 3, I can get like grandfathered in because I've been in there for
so long
13 years now, 14 years.
Okay, interesting. So then, it's gonna kind of segue a little bit, but
get off track.
I want to talk about a little bit about like maybe some NIL deals and how that like affects you. Are the sponsors you have now considered like NIL deals with at the college level, or is it just?
No, I don't have any NIL deals.
Okay.
And I guess I just need to approach that more and see what I guess I could take advantage of, especially
in this area.
Yeah, especially in the Des Moines area. I'd have to look around, and I just have to get myself out there more. And I'm just not one of those people, especially like on social media. Like I'm verified and stuff, but I'm just not one of those people that pushes social media a lot. And understanding, obviously that's what we want to get out there. We want to become popular, and that's a great way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of fake stuff on Instagram, and one thing that really stuck with me, that Kale said is it's just like a fake world.
Mm-hmm.
The world that you build is the people that are around you.
When you get so attached to like what people think and
exactly
reactions.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on that, when Twitter first came around, right, I made an Olympic team, and this guy.
Oh, you were hot on Twitter, weren't you? You were hot on Twitter.
I mean, not really, but this older fat dude told me that I was taking steroids and like just blowing me up like that. And you can do that on Twitter, and I guess I didn't know that, and I reported it, and then they said, oh, this is fine with us.
He's allowed to do that.
Yeah, he's allowed to do that. I was like, oh man, I really don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like people being able to say that and slander my name when you know, I worked so hard for something. You know, I'm like
100%.
offended by it a little bit.
Well,
But
it's
whatever.
hard not to be. Like,
Mhm.
you can look at it and be like, oh, that doesn't bother me. But at the same time, like, I know deep down, if someone's like, hey, screw you, like, you'll be like, oh, whatever. But, like, look, you're like, man,
Yeah, a
don't
little
say
bit.
that.
But it's okay. I mean, I think I need to take advantage of those things more and do a little more social media stuff to, I guess, build more of a following.
Yeah, well, I just think it's so interesting because a lot of like even high school athletes now are able to get these NIL deals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it blows my mind because they're getting these big deals, and it's such a risk when you're a high school athlete because the transition from high school to college is you don't know how they're going to turn out. I mean, how many number one ranked kids have you seen go to college and just it doesn't go the right way?
Yeah, and we talked about. I mean, we talked about it a little bit in our sport management class, right? That we had, and like think about giving a college kid a lot of money, right? That's kind of scary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're thinking about giving a high school kid a lot of money.
Yeah.
And with the presence of social media and with the presence of the internet, I mean, kids are into things that they weren't into before.
Well,
they're into drugs, they're into sex a lot earlier than they should be, and there's nothing they can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do to avoid that.
And thinking about the things that like even the things you valued when you were 18.
Mm-hmm.
What the things I wanted to buy. I mean, that was only a few years ago. So even speaking just now, like, you know, I want the nice car. I want like, you know what I mean? So I mean, that's the stuff I'm probably gonna want to choose to spend my money on. So it's almost better to have to wait that time and work harder to get that money, so you know what's better to spend it on.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. I definitely think learning is a big process, and I'm glad that I was able to, like I said before, have outside experience before coming to college, and I really realized what I wanted to do, and you know, and in what field I wanted to specialize in. I'd say.
Oh, definitely, and I mean, I can say that myself. I mean, just going through college has helped me kind of identify little things that I like and don't like now.
Yeah, living on your own is definitely a life-changing experience.
Oh, yeah.
Being away from mom and dad, and even, you know, in today's world, I think parents need to be able to let go a little bit. We shelter our children so much, and we baby our children, and like even sometimes, you know, I had this situation where I was coaching in Amherst, Wisconsin, and this, you know, we had 7 guys on our team, and there was 2 guys, one kid I knew for a long time, and another kid, he was a hard worker, and I was like, okay, you know, they're around my size, and they're in the area, so you know, I can help them.
Mm-hmm.
And I took like $2,000 to do this job, and I showed up.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't care. I showed up, you know, probably like 3 times a week, and then I would go to the tournaments and stuff. So, I mean,
it was more like you're doing this because you want to coach.
Yeah, the money wasn't obviously it wasn't what I could make in a camp or anything like that. I just don't care about that. The money's not an issue to me.
Yeah.
So I'm coaching these kids, and the first day, this kid hits an ankle pick, right? And it says he's a 145-pound skinny kid. He hits this ankle pick, and he puts his head all the way through right away, right? And the way I teach wrestling, even the way I teach Greco, I don't. If I can take somebody down right away with 100%, I'm gonna, especially in folk style, I'm gonna avoid a scramble.
Yeah.
So when he was putting his head through, all he was doing was creating a scramble right away.
Yeah.
And I told him that, and he got so mad, so offended. And I literally dealt with this issue for like 3 months, and like kids on the team like wouldn't listen to me because this kid was talking crap behind my back. Because this high schooler was talking crap about me behind my back, and I'm going in there, a 2-time Olympian, going into a high school, and this 15-year-old kid is affecting the entire team dynamic because he didn't like what I said to him. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to become tougher.
Well,
you know?
Yes, and then as a coach, it's hard, especially when you're first getting into coaching, because whenever I'm even at the Viking Wrestling Club, like, you're right, kids won't be listening to what I'm saying, and I don't know necessarily how to respond to that yet. I don't know if I should get on them because their parents are right there. And I'm like, I don't want them looking at me all weird, but I don't know how hard to get on them. Like, you know what I mean?
I think in Iowa it's a little different, but I think in general, you know, especially when I was raised, I mean, I was getting beat up in that room, you know, and there was really no holds bars, and coaches didn't hold back nothing.
Yeah, and like you say, your mom was intense, so she was probably. Come on, Ben.
Yeah, my mom was a goer. She didn't like seeing me have a bad practice or a bad.
Yeah.
You didn't want to
There's
see,
no sympathy for it either.
No.
It's like, all right.
No, she was on me if I wrestled bad in practice or tournament. Because she spent, I mean, I get it. She spent a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
My parents spent almost, I mean, spent
Countless,
a lot of
countless,
money.
yeah.
My parents spent and worked a lot of hours to get me where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no doubt that they are a huge part of my success, the hours that they committed to my success.
100%. I mean, that goes for a lot of wrestlers too. Like my family dynamic is very similar. Like, I mean, parents worked a lot of hours to get me to where I'm at. So I mean, in the end, yeah, you have to have some kind of respect for that.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean, my mom, like, yeah, I always love my mom, even though I don't agree.
But
with,
you know,
even though I don't agree with some of the things that might have happened, it's fine.
Yeah,
I love my
yeah.
mama.
But she definitely showed you how to be tough in the wrestling room.
Oh, for sure.
Oh man, I remember some of those practices coming home, wrestling with I originally wrestled for Fife, like the Fife Trojans Wrestling Club, really bad club. Like, not we had a couple good guys there, a couple good coaches, but it was just I ended up moving clubs. Okay, so I got this kid Nate Moore, and we played football together. And I am not a good wrestler when I'm little. I'm small. I'm not good. I'm very timid. But my dad would just make me work out, so I was strong, but that was about it. I didn't even know how to use it. And so this kid, Nate Moore, I wrestled with him all through high school. He goes to North Colorado now, but he just mean kid, not mean, but very aggressive kid and held nothing back in practice. So I think for a good 2 years of going in there 5 days a week, I got my ass kicked every day and maybe scored like 10 points in those 2 years. Oh, yeah. But again, makes you tougher. Look where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, a point on that. When I came back from Bulgaria, Dennis was training for the Olympic trials, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Olympic trials. Yeah, it was 2004. He was getting ready for Olympic trials. So during the camps that he would run, me and him, I would be in the camps and like train with him, like outside of the camp. Like we would have practice, and I got back, and I scored on him. Oh, first time I ever scored on him. Dennis Hall is a
legend.
Two-time
That's a legend.
Olympian, like world champ, Olympic silver medalist, and he just got scored on by a 13-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That after that, bro, that was the worst ass beating that I have ever received in my life.
Yeah.
My father, my mother, never could come close to what Dennis did to me for the next 30 to 45 minutes.
Just penetrated you the whole time.
It was bad. Okay. I did not feel good after it, but I scored on him. So I did feel good.
In the end, you can't take the points away.
No,
they're still up there.
Oh, he could score. He could have scored 1,000,000 points, and guess what? My day was still.
Oh, it was set.
It was made, bro.
Yes.
I was talking shit the rest of the camp.
Especially scoring on a coach too, someone that you respect so high, because you think it's impossible. You're like, there's no way. In high school, there's no way. How can I do this? And then you finally do. You're like, oh my gosh. You hold it on him forever.
I had that same thing with Agassi. So Agassi Manukian, he was a coach at Northern Michigan for a while, and he ended up same thing. He trained with Dennis for a little while, and he after he trained with Dennis, he ended up moving to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So like in high school, after I had Dennis, I had this world champ that had trained with Dennis from Armenia come move to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So I literally was able to do private lessons with him, and he was like,
you've had some amazing partners.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, I like being born where I was, having Dennis Hall in that same hometown. Like just that starting point, I feel like after I realized, like I knew that God sort of put me here for some sort of reason. Eventually, I realized it, and that was like my first sign. And then obviously Bulgaria, like dreaming of being an Olympic champion also. And
it's
then,
like these stones are just falling into place.
Yeah, and then Agassi moving, he was a really big influence on my wrestling. He was very fluent, had great reverse lifts. I mean, was a great coach. And if that was the same thing, like he ended up, he got mad because I ended up getting bigger. I was like 160, 170. And we first started, he just wipe me with the floor,
Yeah.
mop me up, send me to the freaking custodian office, like, hey, I need
Get
to
a job,
need
bud.
to get cleaned up here, dude. So, and eventually I ended up where it was flipped. He couldn't score on me,
Really?
and
Yeah.
he ended up like didn't want to wrestle me anymore.
Damn.
And I get it, he's smaller, I understand, especially pride of a old Russian man like this.
Yeah, that gets into like ego.
Oh,
It
100%.
hurts. It hurts.
I can understand, but I definitely feel that, Greco was the path I was supposed to be on, and obviously with the career I've had, that's definitely where I'm supposed
I
to
think
be.
you could say that.
Yeah.
You could probably say that.
Yeah.
That's
I feel
funny.
comfortable in saying that. So,
No, that's funny though. Damn, bro. I don't know. Well, Milan's mom, bro. Or not Milan's mom, but Jess's mom. Oh my goodness, dude. She was on my ass today.
really?
Yeah, not like about anything bad, but she was just like, I'd like get done weed whacking, and she'd go, "Oh, someone's gonna have to sweep that up." And I go, "I got it. Like someone drops on, "Oh, someone's gonna have to pick that up." Oh, I got it.
She never did that to me. It's funny how perceptions. But, yeah, especially even, like, to a further point with Grandview, I think and I didn't really have this realization until the other day.
Mhm.
I really think the NAIA is the key to help American Greco.
That's so funny that you say that, actually. So, the women's in NAI have already started. They only wrestle freestyle now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't wrestle folk style anymore. And I think if the transition to freestyle and Greco in America is to happen, it's probably going to start in the NAIA, like JUCO. Wouldn't you think?
I don't think that it's possible to have Greco in the NAIA as the style.
Yeah.
That I don't believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe that folk style is going to go anywhere in America.
So-
That I don't believe.
Okay.
But I do believe that it's a way to get very good Greco athletes who are also good folk style athletes to come and wrestle for us or for an NAIA power. Like I mean, say I don't stay here as a coach.
Mhm.
Like what I would like to do is, and even this year, you look at the trials procedures. The top 3 from the NAIA qualify for the World Team trials.
Yes.
I mean,
I didn't know that.
That's
actually.
why Ben Lee gets to wrestle in the trials, and it's just going to be a great experience for him.
Listen, I didn't even realize that they made that a qualifier. I think that's awesome.
And now we have 3 guys from Grandview instead of just 1 going to the World Team trials, and McCung should be there too.
Oh.
McCung, I mean, just because you guys met in the Conci semis,
He's a top 6 guy.
100%, and he's going to be getting better in the next few years.
Well, and dude, going to U23s, it's going to be me and him in the
100%.
It's going to be
100%, and you guys are going to battle it out, and I can't wait.
Oh, dude,
I can't wait for it. It's gonna be good wrestling.
Yeah.
But just thinking about it over the last few days, like obviously the NCAA is not going to change, right?
Yeah, not for a long time
and
at least.
Even the support from NCAA programs will never fall into Greco because there's no money in it for them. It doesn't really make Greco such a different sport, and maybe you can help some heavyweights and stuff like that. But and people with hand fighting, obviously, and some parterre things. But Greco is a different sport. It's completely different wrestling.
The strategy is different. The pace, yes.
I would describe it more as like a judo sumo match, than like a folk style or freestyle match.
Oh, most definitely.
Because it's a completely different sport, and I think in the NAIA we can have guys like what I'm doing and what you're doing is wrestling through a folk style season, and I do believe there's great benefits because you get in great shape from folk style.
Yes.
And your legs don't get as tired in Greco as they do in folk style.
And it makes them stronger.
100%. So I think the wrestling through that season and then going into 6 months of actual Greco season, then our guys can get better. And that's eventually what I want to do is I want to find a coaching position somewhere where I can stay and then start a Greco program where like we're doing now. We went from just me last year to now we have 3 and should have been 4.
Oh.
And we got another. I think we have a few Greco kids that are have already committed to.
Well, and even the ones that aren't necessarily competing Greco, like we went from last year having 5, maybe 6 guys for a Greco practice to this year we had almost 20 on Wednesday. Actually, we might have even had over 20 guys on Wednesday, and it was just even just them coming in and learning it, I think is great, even if they're not necessarily competing.
Well, but when we have success, and this year it changed,
they're gonna want to. Yeah,
people want to come, and that's in anything. When there's success, people want to be around it.
Yeah,
it's like the New England Patriots. People would go to the New England Patriots because they were winning championships with Tom Brady. It's the same thing with the Bucs. It's the reason Tom Brady is such a good leader. You look at the difference. I'm a huge Green Bay Packers fan because I'm from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is getting paid $50 million a year now with his new contract. With that contract, we can't buy enough guys, like enough stars, to be the best team.
Yeah, he's going to have to take that cut.
And because of his ego of all that money, he's also a poor leader. He's setting a poor example of what is important in a team.
Yeah,
a team like our team, like I love our team dynamic because it's all important to win a championship, and that's what we're going for. It's the same thing that Penn State has, and it's everybody all in together working for each other to get better.
Yes.
And
because you got guys 3 deep at almost every weight class, and you could take almost any one of them and they'd place at the national tournament.
Yeah, and look at the guys that are committing here still. We got other national finalists from 2 years ago.
I saw that. Yes.
Just committed.
Yes.
So the more success you have, the more people are going to want to come around, and I think in the next 4 years of me being here is going to attract some more Greco guys to make a decision. Hope maybe out of high school to come here, and even if a guy is specialized in Greco and doesn't do well in the D1 program or a D1 grind, come on over, dude.
Come on over.
We're ready for anybody, and
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
But when you talk about winning, I love that we don't just hold it to the folk style season of winning. We want to win everything we compete at. That is the mindset that Mitchell has, and that's what draws people in so much. That's what drew me in.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Like, okay, we win NAI. Well, let's go to the Open and try to win as many matches as we can. And they are genuinely disappointed when you don't wrestle your best, even when it's a kid that D1. He's got the name, he's got the rank, all this. They will be upset if you do not wrestle your best, and when you should win those matches. And I love that because it pushes you to be the best wrestler you can be.
100%. Mitchell definitely gets me fired up more than I've had any other coach get me fired up to be better.
And it's not that yell that football motivational speech. It's that quiet I'm gonna instill some motivation deep in your soul.
Yeah, and then it's what he expects too. And then it's what he expects. And if we perform badly, then he tells us. Yes. And he's honest with us. And I think that's just a great quality as a coach.
Yes, he has a way of making you want to work hard for him. He'll tell you work hard, but he has a way of being, no. This practice is optional.
Yeah, no doubt.
But if you were tough, you'd be there. Type of thing.
Sure.
And it's just I know what you're doing and I like it, but it gets me.
Sure. But I do think, like I said, I honestly truly believe now that this is the NAIA is somewhere where I'm going to stay and coach because of the freedom that these kids have during the off season compared to NCAA programs.
Yes. Oh, 100%. That has been really nice, actually, is coming here and maybe not necessarily the regulation that I'm talking about, but as far as the room atmosphere, I think as well. This is very intense, but I can joke around with my coaches and stuff, even while we're practicing, and still keep the intensity. And it's I think that's a really good way to just train. It keeps you loose, keeps you having fun. You don't get bored. Because when you're in training cycles, there's times where you don't want to go to practice. It's not that you don't want to wrestle, but you just don't want to practice.
Especially during school. Yeah. Especially when you got a bunch of homework or you got hard classes. It's not easy, but finding a routine. It's something that I never even knew what a good sleep schedule was till I was older. Yeah. Until I moved to Penn State.
Or how it affects you.
Yeah, and I started doing a sleep schedule, and it's probably one of the top 3 things in my life that like made me a better person. Just sticking to a schedule and how much energy I have and how I feel and my positivity. You know, it's so important especially as an athlete.
Well, dude, like I just told you, I started using my what's it called?
Sleep apnea machine.
Yeah, the sleep apnea machine, dude. It's got me sleeping like a baby. My mom would be so proud to hear me say that.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the oxygen into your brain and body that you need while you're sleeping.
I know. I don't feel like I have to take a nap halfway through the day now.
I actually have to do something for a sleep study.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good to do just to kind of find out, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, I've had very vivid dreams since I was a kid. I had night terrors as a kid, so I used to like wake up and run around.
You were telling me about this.
Yeah.
You ever have a sleep paralysis?
I've never had sleep paralysis, but I've had like premonitions.
Okay.
To where I've like dreamt of a situation and then I've been in it.
Yes, like you're underwater and so you're like holding your breath and then like you're actually holding your breath while you're sleeping. Yeah. I've done something like that before because then I wake up and I'm out of breath and I'm like breathing. And
yeah,
I'm like, whoa.
See, mine's a little different. I've actually and I mean it's happened probably I'd say like 40 times since I made a decision to leave. Since I made a decision to leave my marriage and leave that situation, just they started happening. I like this one, the first time it ever happened, I've had this dream so many times. Like there was my coach who I know very well. There was a random person here and a random person here. And all of a sudden this dog just pops up and we're in my coach's living, like in his kitchen, on his kitchen table. And I've been there a million times. Right?
Yeah, so you can see the detail.
Right? Yeah. And I had this dream so many times. Like, probably like 10 to 15 times.
Yeah.
And then literally, boom, it happens. Right?
Really?
Random person, and I knew him, but it literally happened right in front of me after I started making decisions to make myself happier. And then the second one that was like so vivid, the Super Bowl was going on, right? Yeah. So everybody's usually at like a Super Bowl party, whatever. I was going through my divorce, and I was living in Marquette, Michigan, when this was going on.
Yeah.
I was staying with my buddy, me, Michaela Mayer, she's a champion boxer right now. She's an Olympian.
Okay.
And the boyfriend and me went bowling, and there's nobody in the bowling alley. Literally had this dream like 15 times.
Yeah.
Nobody in the bowling alley, right? So it's super weird. Yeah. It's just us, and we're watching the Super Bowl. And I'm like about to take a roll, and I look around, and I'm like, holy fuck.
There's nobody in here?
No, not a single soul besides us. So,
do you think there's like meaning in these dreams, or do you think this is just like a?
I don't really know what to say on that or how to react to it because I don't feel like I'm educated upon it. I mean, I know it's a premonition.
Well, maybe you will be soon enough, psychology major.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely like that.
I would love to learn about that because in high school we would do these dream journals where you got to record your dreams and try to. There was ways to figure out the meanings, but who knows if they were correct or not. But I would like to know because some of them seem a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean this sleep study thing that I have to do, it like involves like stuff that I do in my sleep. Like I unconsciously act in my sleep.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't mean to, and then it like. I mean, I'm not in control of myself.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sleeping. Like
that is.
So it's
really interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know where it comes from. I think it's more just I don't know if it's sleep apnea or like my
just
sleep
a thing
issue.
You do.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So I mean, dreams are an interesting conversation, and I mean you can talk about it forever.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a pleasure having you on here today, Ben. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. But let's
man.
Here. Yeah,
that was a great conversation. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in, bro. Always a great day having you in here.